Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Daniel Jacobs to fight Sergey Derevyanchenko next. Stay tuned. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. This is just to follow a video to a video I already made, and that was informing you guys that it looked like Derevyanchenko versus Daniel Jacobs for the vacant IBF belt was in the works. This is a confirmation that the fight has now been agreed upon by both fighters, and that's the fight we are going to get. That'll be their next fight in New York in October. More information to come. If you needed more confirmation, Eddie Hearn on his verified page, he tweeted this: after weeks of negotiating with my dear friend Lou DiBella, delighted to agree to terms for Daniel Jacobs versus Derevyanchenko for the IBF world title on HBO Boxing. Date coming soon for New York. Lou DiBella confirms this also, the other promoter who's involved in making this happen. He represents the Derevyanchenko side. Jacobs is with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn's side. Lou DiBella says, so Eddie Hearn and I closed a deal for one of the best fights that can be made in the middleweight division. Imagine that. Eddie and I co-promoting a big fight. He's still a cheeky little bastard, but I look forward to a big card and some good nasty back and forth. Wink emoji, hashtag boxing. Listen, this is great news. Both of these fighters deserve props, right? Derevyanchenko sought out the best challenges. He was down to fight Golovkin in May when Canelo had his issue with the clenbuterol, hey, no guys, and Canelo, I was born ready, right? Derevyanchenko offered to step in late notice to get what he feels he's earned, a shot at that IBF. Golovkin's team, they knew the Canelo fight was a possibility for this year, which is happening September 15th, so they elected and decided we don't want to take a fight too dangerous, right? They didn't come out there and say this publicly, but it's very apparent that's what happened, because you fought a non-middleweight who wasn't ranked in Vanes Martirosyan from a lighter division at 154, coming off a 2-year layoff of inactivity and a loss to Edislandi Lara. So you fought him, knocked him out in 2 years. I guess that's supposed to bolster your resume, get your knockout streak back going, because you didn't have the knockout streak when Triple G fought Jacobs, and he didn't have it when he fought Canelo. So now his knockout streak is back. He has one knockout because he fought a 54-pounder. Moving on, Derevyanchenko didn't get a shot. He was promised a shot by Triple G's team. They were supposed to agree with 90 days, but again, they still had their sights set on Canelo Alvarez. That's the bigger money fight. And listen, for all the people who are boo-hooing and like, oh, I don't blame Triple G's team because they're trying to go after the money. Of course, who wouldn't? The only two issues I have with that is this. One, you criticize Mayweather for fighting McGregor. Say, hey, no, circus, and these guys are businessmen. You criticize guys like Canelo in the past for fighting Amir Khan or Liam Smith or whoever he wanted to fight, which was big business. Liam Smith, that fight did 50 to 51,000 in Texas because there's a high dense Hispanic, Mexican-American population there, right? So you can't criticize other people and Billy Joe Sanders, hey, no, he clown and all this, and then you doing the same thing for money. That's one issue because that's not consistent. Two, the other issue is this. They had an option to not get stripped of the IBF, which later happened because failure to face Derevyanchenko. They could have on May 5th, since they wanted to, quote unquote, give the Mexican fans or save the Mexican dates or whatever you want to call it. They called the fight Mexican style with Vanes Martirosyan, even though there was not one Nair Mexican on the card. I don't like, you know what I mean, maybe on the undercard, but I went there. They had Ryan Blue Chip Martin, they had Cecilia Brækhus versus a girl who's Cape Verdean, and then they had Vanes Martirosyan, Armenian, and then they had Triple G, who's from Kazakhstan. So they called it Mexican style too, with really no Mexicans in the main event or co-main event. Whatever. You wanted to save the Mexican dates, you could have at least fought Derevyanchenko, who probably, since he's an adequate puncher and of adequate size in the division, he probably could have put up a better fight, lasted more than 2 rounds, in my honest opinion. So if saving the date was that important and pleasing the Mexican fans or whatever, you wanted Mexican style, it looks like Derevyanchenko could give you that. He's knocked out some decent names, Deshaun Johnson and Toriano Johnson, stuff like that, which is a whole lot more than Vanes Martirosyan has done in the last 2 years, and he earned his spot as mandatory. So again, I don't have any sympathy for him getting stripped. Triple G's team later said, "Oh, I'm surprised the IBF treated us so unfairly." How? If you chose, Canelo fucked up his own shit. The fight got canceled. You didn't have to fight May 5th, but you wanted to keep that date, and you have obligations. And if it wasn't going to be Canelo, then by default, you should have to fulfill your obligations as champion. No one's going to step in the way of a big fight typically, right? No one's going to be like, "Oh no, fuck the Canelo Triple G rematch in May, fight Derevyanchenko." You know what I mean? Because sanctioning bodies, they get paid too. So, you know, no one's going to stand in the way of like a huge fight for boxing. But since that huge fight for boxing got fucked up through no fault of Golovkin's team, let's be clear, Canelo had his own tacos and meat and all this shit, right? Through no fault of his own, but you chose to continue to fight on that date regardless. And things weren't going well. You were initially supposed to fight at the T-Mobile Arena HBO pay-per-view, then they moved it to the MGM. You're trying to fight Jaime Munguia, a 154-pounder, another one. The Nevada State Athletic Commission didn't approve it. They decided that, oh, okay, we're not finding any worthy opponents that are worthy to keep it in Vegas, so we'll go to California in a much smaller venue than the MGM, much smaller venue than the T-Mobile Arena, StubHub, which holds like 9,000 people, right? And we're going to take it off of pay-per-view. So if you're having this many obstacles and hurdles, Billy Joe Saunders says he would fight you. He says he just couldn't fight on that date. He said June, July, he'd be good. So you could have explored that. Bob Arum came out and says, "Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, if you're interested in coming out to 68, my fighter's ready." And he's called you out in the past. Derevyanchenko, excuse me. Derevyanchenko said, "I'm your mandatory. Fight me. I'll be ready." Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade said, "Yo, I'll fight. You don't want a southpaw? I'll fight right-handed." You overlooked all those guys and you fought Vanes Martirosyan. So getting stripped is what I'm saying. It was a natural progression, because all you had to do is fight your mandatory if you chose to keep fighting that date, or fight nobody. And then I don't think he would have been stripped, because then it would have been all Canelo's fault. But the moment you assume the responsibility of trying to save that date, then option A doesn't work. Then you're going to have to follow your obligations as a champion, since Canelo was out of the picture by that point, because he withdrew and got suspended. Anyway, major props to Sergey Derevyanchenko. He did, and Lou DiBella. They did what they thought was right for their fighter. Now their fighter's fighting for a title. Major props to Danny Jacobs. I don't know if you guys realize this. I talked about this on a live stream. Daniel, the Miracle Man fucking Jacobs, Brownsville, never ran, never will, has, at this point, by the time when he fights Derevyanchenko, that will be his 4th undefeated fighter consecutively in a row. There's no one doing this in boxing. You know, standing up to cancer, beating that, staying strong for your family, battling something that's supposed to cripple you, and being able to walk, and not only walk, but fight again. And then now you gave Golovkin a run for your money when you were supposed to get knocked out, according to the fans, because of the Dimitri Perot knockout years before, which arguably you could have had the early onset of this bad cancer that you had that was wrapping around your spine. We don't know, right? Gave Golovkin a fight of his life, ended his knockout streak when people said at the time that Jacobs was going to get knocked out. He's too chinny, and paper chin Jacobs and all this extra shit. And oh, if Sergio Mora knocked down Jacobs, then you know what Golovkin's going to do. Remember all that shit they were saying, right? And remember my channel? Remember I told you Sergio Mora had a flash knockdown because Jacobs got too aggressive, like to the point of sloppy. He was just trying to get his man out of there, and then he got caught with the shot, got sat down. It happens, right? Especially when you don't respect a fighter, you know what I mean? You just try to bombard him. You look at Pacquiao versus Marquez. He had Marquez badly hurt, but that's the way the cookie crumbles when you don't respect your opponent. Anyway, you gave Golovkin a hell of a fight. I thought Jacobs won that fight, and beyond that, like I said, this is his 4th undefeated. He fought Gennady Golovkin, then he fought the undefeated Golovkin, then he fought Luis Cuba Arias, a ranked undefeated guy, then he fought Maj Selesky, right, undefeated guy who had knocked out Charlo's last opponent, Matt Selesky, undefeated Polish fighter. And then now he's fighting Sergey Derevyanchenko, another noted puncher, 80% plus knockout ratio, undefeated, and the highest ranking person within the IBF that's not a champion. And now, well, actually, yeah, Golovkin got stripped. So basically the highest ranking person since Golovkin got stripped in the IBF. And now he's fighting his 4th undefeated fight in a row. Not to mention, before the Mora fights, he fought an undefeated Peter Quillen and knocked him out in 1 round. I mean, what Jacobs has done with his career, the back half of it is incredible. So props to Lou DiBella, Eddie Hearn for getting this done. And we got a fight on HBO. I'm looking forward to it. Nice implications. Other thing is, Triple G, you go with Canelo. Let's say Canelo. I love this because now Derevyanchenko is going to either beat Jacobs and become an IBF champion, and if he beats Jacobs, there's nothing you could say to deny and denounce Derevyanchenko. He's here because we know Jacobs is quality. Or Jacobs is going to beat a 4th undefeated fighter. I know he didn't beat Triple G on paper, but I thought he beat him, so that's why I'm saying it like that, because I really did. I was at the fight. Or he's gonna fight his 4th undefeated fighter in a row and beat Derevyanchenko, which also solidifies how good he is in the middleweight division. So Canelo or Golovkin's gonna have to see one of these two because they're gonna have all the belts. So if you want to unify, I mean, you could try to stall it out and fight Billy Joe Saunders, who's been kind of hit or miss. But if you ever want to be undisputed, you're gonna have to go through one of these people. So it's a good time in boxing, people. That puts a lot of pressure. So like Triple G, I don't want to see him move up to 68. There's too much action at middleweight. Don't do it, because that's going to look horrible. If Triple G fights Canelo and then moves up to 68, it's going to look horrible. I'm just going to say it like that. But the other thing that's impressive to me, they have the same trainer, Andre Rozier. So I don't know who's, I mean, obviously, I believe Andre Rozier. He's been with Jacobs longer, so it'll be kind of like Freddie Roach versus Pacquiao. He's going to go with his longest pupil, like the pupil he's had longest. So I don't know what Derevyanchenko's going to do for a trainer, but I mean, that I'm sure Jacobs, just having the same trainer, I'm sure they know each other. Maybe they've even sparred before. I don't know. But I got to give guys props like that, because sometimes friendships and stablemates ruin good fights. You know, like Andre Berto versus Amir Khan. I think that's a good fight. You know what I mean? That could have been a good fight for the last couple of years, but most fighters don't fight when they're in the same stable like that, when they have the same trainer, right? You didn't see Brandon Rios and Maidana. You didn't see, like I said, Berto Khan, because they all had the same trainer at a point. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Danny Jacobs and Derevyanchenko have the same trainer, or had the same trainer, or whatever, however they resolve this, and they're about to fight each other, as opposed to saying, oh, I'm not fighting that guy. That just shows you they want it. Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos, Ego sign out. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.